Hello everyone, I hope all is well. Thanks for joining this channel again. And if you've not yet subscribed, please do so. As a matter of fact, please share the content. Please click on that notification button. Send the message to the algorithm that you want to see more content. It takes a lot to develop content, and by the way, I'll continue to do that. And this week's topic is about 9 nights ritual in Jamaica, a changing tradition. The 9-night ritual, known as Dead Yard, is an important part of Jamaica's funeral tradition, with deep roots to Africa. When someone dies, family members and others gather for 9 nights to remember them, share stories, and support grieving families. This tradition has been part of Jamaica's culture ever since the days of slavery. But like many cultural practices, it has changed a lot over a period of time. I remember when I was a boy, I would go to dead yards and I would just have a wonderful time. You remember that one? You would have this stone being passed around and you better be careful of your fingers. Lick them one by one. Galang boy, don't cry. Today, it looks quite different from that time. And of course, there are some changes taking place. But remember, before that, Jamaica had a strong connection to families and community. The original 9-night traditions came from West Africa, especially from the Ashanti people, and their cultural practices was very evident. When enslaved Africans were brought to Jamaica, they kept their traditions alive, as well as to honor the dead and maintain their cultural identity. That is so important. In those days, the 9 nights serves as a practical purpose. Most places in Jamaica had no morgues, so the deceased was kept at home until burial. There was a tradition in Jamaica at one point in the 50s that you still had to keep people on ice. Family members needed emotional support during this difficult time, and the community came together to help them. The community helped them with everything from digging graves, making coffins, and preparing food. People didn't expect to be fed when they came to, of course, mourn. Instead, they brought food, money, support for the grieving families. This kind of community support meant families didn't have to spend much money on funerals. Tradition has changed somewhat if you look at what's happening with funerals in Jamaica now. Now, the traditional 9 nights included people staying at wakes all night with the family of the deceased. Traditional food like cocoa tea, fried fish, hard dough bread, and of course singing of songs and people praying. People were telling stories about the deceased life, making up stories sometimes as they go. Traditional music played by bands. The 9 night was especially important because people believed it was when the spirit of the dead person would finally say goodbye before joining their ancestors. Many believed that the spirit would travel back to Africa, and this was so important because back in slavery, sometimes death meant freedom. Joining the ancestors in the afterlife, that is, would be better than slavery. How 9 nights have changed over time. The 9 nights rituals have changed a lot from its original form, especially in recent decades. I went back to Jamaica and I was surprised at what I saw. From a little dead yard where people sat around and played dominoes to this, taking this little movement of the band playing.
Sleep.
You see what I'm saying? It has changed a lot. In the past, people would just meet all 9 nights. Today, because of work, schedule, and modern life, 9 nights have often had just one night, usually the last night before the funeral. Some family members will still receive visitors throughout the time, but the main celebration was concentrated on one evening. From mourning to celebration, the night has changed and shifted from serious mourning to celebration. Sometimes you go to dead yard now and you ask a person, is who died? They have no clue. Quite not the solemn ceremony or gathering that we had. Today it's more like party, dancing, music, socializing. As Dr. Clinton Hutton stated, a social historian by profession, he explains things have changed, but the tradition and meaning is changing in a way that I don't necessarily like it at all, where people are no longer required themselves to reflect on the ritual and the singing, of course. It has become music, entertainment, and of course, traditional bands now play religious songs. Now we have a modern twist. You have sound systems and DJ playing reggae and even dancehall music. One woman was interviewed and she said, the dead are already dead. They can't come back to harm the living, showing how younger people view the tradition. They don't even understand what it was for. Maybe we need to educate them. Then there's food and drink. The food served at night expanded beyond the traditional offerings. Remember, I stated earlier, it was like chocolate, tea, cocoa tea, fried fish, dumpling, bread, and just a few other things. Today it's modern. You have white rice, you have curried goat, you have jerk chicken, you have jerk pork, mannish water, and that's made from the head of a goat. One thing that hasn't changed is the importance of the white JB rum. People just love rum. If you have 9 nights, you must have rum, which is still considered an essential part of the celebration. You can't have a 9 night, someone said, without a bottle of rum, or two, or a case. You know, there was a story about a man. He went to this dead yard, and he was always trying to drink. So they gave him rum punch, but this little man decided that, you know what, I'm going to give him a special rum punch and dosed it with JB. I tell you, when he drank that, I heard he was in a tree, and when he fell, he never returned after. If you don't have rum, it's not a dead yard. But there's a difference between the rural and the urban sort of celebration. How 9 nights is celebrated varies greatly on the city and country area that is happening. Rural areas tend to have a more traditional practice. Urban areas like Kingston often have more modern elements. A Jamaican living in London noted that attending a 9 night in Jamaica helped them see the link between the ancestors and the traditions being practiced. The cost of 9 nights is another thing. Traditionally, in the old days, that is, community bore the cost. People, of course, did things freely. I do hear that many individuals will dig graves without charging, and it's a celebration itself. Now, I've also heard that there's also band playing at the digging of the grave. Food is again cooked like crazy there. Previously, mourners would have brought food, but nowadays, you have so many things that you have to take care of, which places a burden on the family. Modern cost is increasing. Family might have to spend on hiring a DJ, a sound system, purchasing a wider variety of food and drinks, renting tents, chairs, and other equipment, not to mention the white rum and other alcoholic beverages. Food is so expensive, and the thought about community support not being there is taking away from the tradition. Despite all these changes, 9 nights continue to be valued in Jamaica's culture for several reasons. Supporting the grieving process. We think that 9 nights is important because it helps people overcome the journey, and sometimes the support is necessary. 9 nights bring people together during difficult times. The turnout at 9 nights often reflects a family standing together in the community. It gives friends and family a chance to show up and support. It's about cultural identity. As a tradition with African roots dating back to slavery, 9 nights is important in the part of Jamaica's cultural identity. The future of 9 night traditions faces several challenges in the modern world. Some researchers worry about the tradition being watered down or losing its cultural significance. Others see potential in sharing these traditions through cultural tourism, which might help preserve them. As one group studying the tradition noted, it might evolve and change with time, but all is not lost, and we can get back to the real traditional nine night with a little help. Let me conclude by saying the nine night ritual in Jamaica shows how traditions can change while still remaining important. From its African origins to its modern form, nine nights continue to help Jamaican families honor the dead and find support in their family and communities. By understanding how this tradition has evolved, we can better appreciate and value it in Jamaica's culture and ensure it continues for the next generation. That's all for now.